Welcome back to Moonshine Performance. We're going to go ahead and get this block prepped and ready to get it on the test stand so we can start assembling it and get the crank in. Oh yeah, not on the test stand, on the engine stand. Get the crank in, get all the bearings and stuff in and measured and make sure that our clearances are good. And the first thing I'm going to go ahead and do is start putting these cam bearings in here. I've already made a video about that, so I'm not going to go into too much depth. And this motor has been cleaned profusely, and it will continue to be, yeah. It's a surgery field out here. It'll be continued to be cleaned as we go through and build it. You know, you can never have a clean enough motor while you're building it. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these cam bearings pounded in. Got all the cam bearings thrown in there. They turned out real nice. They're all evenly spaced. And on a big block Chevy, you're going to install the oil hole at 6 o'clock. So basically straight up if the block is upside down. If you're looking at a clock, 6 o'clock is on the bottom, block's flipped over, it'd be on the top. So there's that. We're going to go ahead and start mixing up some epoxy on this cardboard here. Throw some freeze plugs in, cam button, get some oil galley plugs in there. And we're getting this thing ready to go. We also got paint ready too. We got masking tape. Just made a Menards run for maintenance stuff. Basically, we got some more acetone, another cutoff wheel for the chop saw, a couple of wheels for the angle grinder, packaging tape, masking tape,
and we're broke again.
And we're broke again. Oh, we also got a new grinder too after we dedicated the last one to the valve job. So there's that one. We just get the junk ones because no matter what you get, they don't last ever. So we're gonna go ahead and start getting these freeze plugs pounded in here. Just finished getting all these freeze plugs and oil galley plugs in. We got plenty of thread hooked in there, and we got them all epoxied up. And what we like to do with these freeze plugs is pound them in, and then the excess, we like to pound them past the chamfer there, and then just take the excess and spread it on in there so it kind of helps it stay in place. And we're gonna go ahead and mask those off real nice and have those stand out along with the orange engine paint that's going on here. Got these two front ones in. There's none over here besides the freeze plugs, and they all turned out really well. So we've been wiping this thing down for the last 5-10 minutes, getting ready to go on the engine stand and getting ready to start painting this thing. I think that after we paint it, we're going to end the video there and then start assembling it. Got this thing all mounted up on the stand here, and everything's looking really good and fresh. We had a little secret about that right there we're not going to share with you. But this thing turns real nice. And then we're gonna go ahead and start painting it here in a little bit. We'll flip it over and mask everything off, and we're gonna dump a set of heads on it they're not junk, but they don't need to be clean. We're gonna set those on there to paint it, and then we're also gonna set on, we don't have a spare big block Chevy intake to set on for paint, so we'll have to figure something out to mask that off. But
Junk oil pan.
We got junk oil pan, we got a junk timing chain cover, so we'll go ahead and set that on there, and she'll be ready for paint. And that orange engine paint is going on there again. This is the oil pan that's going on the motor, and it came to us already orange, but I'm not going to take the chance of seeing if that matches this orange right here. So I am going through with a 400 grit sandpaper, and I'm just scuffing this thing up, and I'm going to throw it on there and paint it, and that way they're both the same exact color. Got this thing all masked off, and I forgot to record before I started painting. Well, this is about the third coat. I think we're probably going to go. We got 2 cans, probably going to use about 1.5 cans. I probably used 1/8 or 1/4 of a can so far. And so far, it's looking really good. I just finished up the third coat, like I said, so it's a little bit wet still. And we're just going to keep going through and painting this thing. Got everything masked off. Everything's ready to go. And even did a special touch for our old friend Stu. I plugged these oil galley plugs off with tape so they come out black when we take the tape off. So that'll be kind of a nice accent. And everything's looking good. I'm going to flip her over probably after I'm done painting the bottom here and make sure I get the back of the motor and the front of the motor real well. But I'm just going to keep throwing coats on this, and after that we'll take all the tape off and see what it looks like. Finished this paint job here, and it turned out really well. Everything's nice and clean cut. Beautiful. Freeze plugs have no orange in them. They're all nice looking. And those oil galley plugs turned out really well. They're on this side. They turned out really well. There's a little bit on there, but they from the top you won't be able to see any of that orange. But man, this thing turned out really well. Looks nice and clean. I don't think there's anything better than a Chevy motor freshly cleaned and painted. It looks beautiful. Stu also dropped off this 400 block, and I don't know what his plans are for this yet, but I think he wants us to build something with it. We don't know what he's going to do with it. We checked it with the dial bore indicator, and it's actually standard bore, which is very surprising. He's got a tunnel ram intake for this. I don't know if he wants to put that on there, but he's got a couple ideas. We might actually de-stroke it and make it into a 377, but we got to finish this thing first. So this thing's coming along. We're waiting on the crank. Stu said once he gets the call that it's ready and freshly turned, he's gonna run down, drive over to Indiana and pick it up, so we don't have to wait for shipping. I'm like, all right. So he's gonna run over there and get that. But man, this turned out really well. I know I probably couldn't have done a better job. All of it, everything looks really good on it. Got the pan sitting over here. It turned out really well as well. And everything looks really good. The pan was orange, but like I said, we wanted to hit it just to make sure that the oranges matched. So this thing is almost ready. Well, it is ready to be assembled now. You know, there's nothing else that we need to do besides start getting the crank in and start assembling this thing. So that'll be the next video. I think the next video we're gonna assemble the short block, and then after that we'll assemble the heads, get the thing on the test stand and get it running, get it all put together, and throw the top end together. And I'm anxious to see what this thing sounds like. So that's what we're looking at. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned.